Real quick, I want to thank this video sponsor, which is Keeps. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I built a storage unit for my garage. It's a sturdy yet simple design that'll allow me to store totes in an organized fashion. It only took me 4 hours to build, and the materials to build one are under $100, even less if you have scraps to throw at it. Let me show you the steps on how you can build your own. First off, let me cover the materials needed. The uprights will be made from 2x4s. The shelf supports from 2x2s, while the shelves themselves are from plywood. This program I'm using to model my project before getting started is called 3D Experience by SolidWorks, which is a program designed with makers in mind. You can create plans, generate cut lists, and have all of the benefits of seeing your project before making a single cut. This industry-leading design tool is priced at a low price of $99 a year. But viewers of this video get a 20% off price while supplies last. You can click the link in the description to create a free 3D Experience ID, which will allow you to access the 20% off offer. So let's start off by cutting the upright 2x4s and the supporting 2x2s to length. I set up a quick workbench right in my driveway to make all the cuts needed. And I actually keep a bifolding hollow core door in my garage to deploy as a large and strong workbench. They're really cheap, but I love how I can easily tuck them away after a project is done. I use some scraps on the end of the table to support my long material as I'm cutting, and then I cut all of my uprights to be the same height. Remember, I have a discount code for this stealth mask respirator if you're looking for an effective yet comfortable half mask to wear. Next, I started building the first wall of the unit. There will be 2 walls that are identical to each other. The 2x2s can be attached to the upright 2x4s first. And to make it easy, I set out 3 2x4s together, then used a tape measure to mark off the location on where the 2x2s needed to be placed. Once I marked one 2x4, next I made sure all the ends of the 3 boards were flush to each other, then used a speed square to transfer the location to all 3 at the same time. As you're making a mark, make a note on if this is where the top of the 2x2 should go or the bottom. And you can do this by placing an X on either side of the line. The X signifies where the board is placed. Once the locations are marked on all 3, they can be spread apart, then the 2x2s can be added. Now for this project I have a nail gun, so that's what I'm using. It definitely makes a job like this go much quicker. However, know that if you don't, screws and a drill work just as well. It's also worth mentioning that I'm not using any wood glue. I chose to skip the wood glue on this project so that I can tear it apart in the future should I want or need to. Okay, to put things together, now all I had to do was place the 2x2s on my pencil marks and attach them with a few nails per joint. I started with the very bottommost one. After getting the bottom in place, I moved to the top and repeated. This way the uprights are held square while repeating with all of the in-between 2x2s. And as I'm working, I'm just making sure the 2x2s are on my line with each one of my pencil marks before I nail it. You can also see I threw on a knee pad to protect the knee I typically throw down when working. If you're interested, I have a free set of plans for this rack on my website with the dimensions I use. But look at the things you want to store before you build it, because if you want to adjust the height of any of the shelves, you simply move the 2x2s up and down on the 2x4 uprights. Now the process can be repeated to build out the second identical wall that will make up the other side of the unit. After completing that, I was gearing up to combine the 2 walls together with the shelves by myself, but my mom stepped in. It's far easier to have a second person to lend a hand, so I asked her to hold both of the walls while I slid in the first shelf. The thing to pay attention to here is that the shelf ends up flush with 2x2, and that's it. It is very simple. Once it's in place, then it just needs to be screwed down. And for the shelves, I did switch to screws instead of nails. This way I could replace the shelves in the future should I ever need to. Then, before I make it more heavy, I thought I should go ahead and move the unit where it will eventually be living. So Mom and I shuffled it over onto the wall. You can see that I have some of this wall taken up with a water softener, but again, know that you can easily make it longer if you have more wall space to utilize. Once there, I repeated by just sliding on sheets of plywood, then attaching them to the 2x2s. Now, a few things to note here. I set a project under $100, but it can be so much cheaper if you have scraps like I did. All of my plywood came from cutoffs from other projects. So one of my shelves has a hole in it, but I think it's a waste, the whole sheet of plywood. Why'd you put X piece underneath? Leave them stored in big totes or boxes and the hole won't be an issue. Then another is made up of 2 pieces. It's just garage shelving, so save up those scraps. And note that if you have 1/2 inch, that works just as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be 3/4. Okay, and then the last thing I did was secure the unit to the wall. I already marked the studs on this wall, so next I drove 3-inch screws into the uprights that landed on a stud. And this makes the entire assembly unbudgeable, which means it can't accidentally be pulled down. It also means I could climb up to get to the very top to screw down that top shelf. And that's it. It's fast, it's easy, but what a difference this unit makes. It allows me to get so many things up and off of the floor, then gives me plenty of added storage that didn't exist beforehand. Now I have room for 10-gallon buckets, plenty of totes, and whatever other random items end up living in my garage long term. If a shelving unit has been on your to-do list, then you definitely shouldn't wait. It's cheap, it's very fast, but it's so functional. So I hope that this video has helped you out, and don't forget that I have a free set of plans if you want to start with the dimensions that I used. I'll see you on my next video. Real quick, I want to pause and thank this video sponsor, which is Keeps. Keeps is a subscription service that makes it easier for men to treat their male pattern baldness. A licensed doctor will review your information online and recommend the right hair loss treatment plan for you. Then, your treatment is shipped directly to your door every 3 months. Keeps is affordable too, as they offer generic versions of FDA-approved hair loss medications. Between coworkers, friends, and families, I have a lot of men in my life, and they all have one thing in common. They want to keep their hair. 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35, and the best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you have hair left. Treatments can take up to 4 to 6 months or more to start seeing results, so it's important to act fast. The sooner you start, the more hair you'll have. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, you can go to keeps.com/April to get 50% off. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Be sure to also check out my website because I sell lots of useful things, such as these fraction and decimal charts. They're not only cool shop decor, but they're also functional. If you're interested in getting yours, you can click right here.